Hello and welcome back. This is David from the Personal Finance Squad. Okay, now we're going to get into section 11.1 of 401k plans, and this is part 2 where we talk about employer matching. And we mentioned that this is a defined contribution plan. This means the employer creates their guidelines and they will tell you whether they're going to contribute. They're going to tell you when you can. They can tell you when you can take it out and have all that money given back to you, which is called vesting. There's a lot of rules which we're going to get into so that we understand the best way for you to manage yours when you have the ability to contribute, or if you're contributing already. So when we speak of employer matching, again, it's off their guidelines. And if they match, that means they're going to contribute more money on top of your contribution. And so let's read a little example here. This is how most examples will read when you have a job or look at some benefits when you choose to take a job. And you can see right here, they'll say, to review a typical plan, suppose your employer says they will match dollar for dollar the first 5% of your salary for the year up to a maximum of $37.50. So if your salary is $75,000 and you're paid bi-weekly, here's the $37.50 calculation. You could really run these numbers right here and say, if you did this division, you're going to say you're going to get to 0.5. So this is just kind of proving out the math. Really what you need to figure out is if you want to get that entire match, then you got to figure out, what do I need to put in here every check to meet that number? We know that $3,750 is the max. And if you're paid bi-weekly in this case, if you divide that by 26, you get the simple math of $144.23. Now that we know that $144.23 is required, this does allow you to start thinking about how my money can grow over time, and that is based off compound interest. So right here we say, hey, you can use a compound interest calculator, and when you do that, you have to put in some inputs that match the calculator, so you need to change it from this $144.23 a little bit. So what they're going to ask you is how much you're going to put in during the year. So you have to do it by month instead of by paycheck, because bi-weekly paychecks end up actually being 26 total, but by month it's a $312.50 average, or really a fixed amount. So now let's just forecast something here real quick. We know that you're going to put in $312.50 on average a month, even though it's $144.23 per check, and over a 20-year lifespan at 5%, we'll have $127,534. Now, think about it this way. If you didn't contribute to this, that money would be forfeited. Now, let's just say you have $312, which we already know you do because you're going to get this maximum amount from the employer by doing so. That means you're really putting in more than that. You're really putting in $625 a month. And over 20 years at 5%, it grows to $254,661. So you can see the beauty of putting away just $312 and where it can grow over 20 years. Every budget is relative, so it doesn't mean you may have the ability to do it at this point. And there's certainly people out there who can do more, but it does show you the value. If you have a job where they're going to match money, the first goal you should have if you're building into this is to make sure that you get the entire employer match. Okay, so this last piece is eligibility. We've talked about this a couple times before, but it is common to see a period where there's restrictions that may allow you to participate in the plan, and they may say you need to be a full-time employee with at least 3 months of service for a participation plan can begin. That is just one example. That could be varied depending on which employer you have. Some employers let you start after 90 days. Some employers let you start from day one. Some employers say that you don't need to be full-time. Typically, you're going to see it as full-time employment, and because otherwise, when someone's not full-time, they're typically an hourly person more so than a salary. So just understand that you're just going to have to read the guidelines if you're starting a job, or if they have it available to you and you haven't really read the details of it because you're not participating, then you should look into this. But again, this matching is very important. The whole point is if you can put money in and they're matching it, you should take advantage of it. Okay, so that's going to do it. For the next section, we are going to get into the contribution limits. So yes, you can't just put out every dollar that you have. You have limits that you have to follow in order to follow what the government tells you can do. Okay, so thanks for joining, and we will see you in the next video.